Emergency press conference, emergency press conference. We have an emergency press conference. What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Crypto Bobby. Hope you are having a great day, great night, wherever you are watching or listening in from. And yeah, today I literally just sprinted back home before work started after I saw the news this morning that JP Coin has dropped and JP Coin was announced. And I want to talk about this because it is blowing Twitter up right now. And there's some interesting ways to look at this. There's some interesting bits of information here. And it's really funny. It's really kind of funny to come full circle as well, because if we pop back over to this, we got in September 12th of 2017. Shout out to beardless Crypto Bobby. I look like I'm 12 years old now in comparison to that. That's what happens when a bear market occurs. But we got Jamie Dimon ripping Bitcoin as a fraud and saying it won't end well. And now we have JP Coin getting released. What the heck is JP Coin? Why is it getting released? We're going to talk about that and a bunch more in today's episode, so we'll get into it. So forget the news sites today. This is straight from jpmorgan.com, and this is their news and announcement. So this is not some BS news or anything like that, but JP Morgan creates digital coin for payments. And this was literally published today on the 14th. It says this: JP Morgan this month became the first U.S. bank to create and successfully test a digital coin representing a fiat currency. The JPM Coin, couldn't get a more creative name here, come on Jamie, is based on blockchain technology that enabling the instantaneous transfer of payments between institutional accounts. We sat down with Umar Farouk, head of digital treasury services and blockchain, to find out more about the announcement. Yada, yada, yada. Okay, so we're going to look at this at a very, very high level, and then we're going to get into it. What does it mean? What does it mean for Bitcoin? What does it mean for Ethereum? What does it mean for Ripple and for XRP? Is this an attack against cryptocurrency, or is this just something that I don't know. We'll talk about that and a lot more. So what exactly is the JP Coin used for? It's a digital coin supposed to be used for instantaneous payments, utilizing blockchain technology, exchanging value, money between services parties, yada, yada, yada. Now, if we pop down here, here's one thing. So a lot of people watching this right now, I'd say 99.9% of you are like me, retail traders, retail customers. Maybe you have a JP Morgan account. Am I going to be able to use this? Is this going to be like a Cash App, or is this going to be like a Venmo? Actually, no, for the most part, it's not. Right now, at least. You can see, can I use JP Morgan coins as an individual consumer? JPM Coin is currently a prototype that will be tested with a small number of JP Morgan's institutional clients, with plans to expand the pilot program later this year. So it's really just a pilot program right now. JP Morgan Coin is currently designed for business to business money movement flows, and because we're still in the testing phase, we don't have plans to make this available to individuals at this stage. That said, if there is a cost savings and efficiency benefits that would extend to end customers of they would extend that to customers as well as to their institutional clients that they already have. So this is what we're looking at right here, is essentially a JP Morgan stablecoin. It's not even a stablecoin to be leveraged by everybody. Maybe like a GUSD or a TUSD or a Tether, or the plethora of stablecoins. It's now stablecoin alphabet soup at this point. But this is specifically for JP Morgan accounts. This is representative of JP Morgan. This is representative of JP Morgan dollars. So right now, simply JP Morgan dollars is what it's representative of. And you can see here, so they JP Morgan breaks down three different types of cryptocurrencies, or three different types of, I don't even know what to call them anymore, of coins, of digital currencies, as cryptocurrencies. Number one, which is, you can consider Bitcoin, Ether, the main cryptocurrency. They consider those to be uncollateralized. Bitcoin and Ether are not collateralized, and the value is intrinsic to the coin. Then they have the second category, which is fiat-backed stablecoins, which is USDC, Tether, GUSD, yada, 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 the alphabet soup that we've already covered. And that is, reserves are held at a bank. They're relatively transparent about the collateral reserves, and that varies by the stablecoin. Tether maybe not so much. USDC or GUSD is apparently more transparent. And then lastly, you have JPM Coin, which is one-for-one redeemable in fiat currency held by JP Morgan. So two final points I'll look at here is number one, JP Morgan's official stance on cryptocurrency, because we've had obviously the CEO of JP Morgan, who no doubt has some influence over the rest of the organization, really trashing Bitcoin, which is the largest cryptocurrency out there, and calling it a fraud and saying that it won't end well. So what is JP Morgan's actual official stance on cryptocurrency? And they go to say this, kind of a half-assed answer. We always believed in the potential of blockchain technology, the old Bitcoin, blockchain, not Bitcoin. And we're supportive of cryptocurrencies as long as they are properly controlled and regulated. As a globally regulated bank, we believe we have a unique opportunity to develop the capability in a responsible way with oversight of our regulators. Ultimately, we believe that the JP Morgan coin can yield significant benefits for blockchain applications by reducing clients' counterparty and settlement risk, decreasing capital requirements, and enabling instant value transfer. And then lastly, when we're looking at this, what is this actually built with? Are they using XRapid, and are they using Bitcoin? Are they using a side chain of something? Well, they're actually using Quorum, which is it is the enterprise version of Ethereum. It is a permissioned enterprise version of Ethereum. So it's not built on Ethereum's main chain, but JP Morgan has long been part of the Enterprise Ethereum Alliance, and it's utilizing it is essentially a fork. Quorum is a fork of mainnet Ethereum and taken to do a more permissioned system than Ethereum is currently. So what do I actually think about this? What do you think about that? Number one, before I give my thoughts, would love to hear your thoughts. If you're watching on YouTube, sound off in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts. My thoughts on this are, number one, this is not competitive to Bitcoin. This is not competitive to a decentralized cryptocurrency. There are a lot of people freaking the fuck out. Excuse the language, freaking the fuck out about this, and saying, short the pump, long Bitcoin, short the bankers. This, in my opinion, has absolutely nothing to do with Bitcoin. This is not competitive to Bitcoin whatsoever. This is a highly, highly, highly centralized digital coin that is built on a permissioned blockchain that is used for internal benefits. The value capture here is solely for JP Morgan and potentially for JP Morgan's customers. JP Morgan is trying to reduce fees, costs, whatever it might be internally, potentially, spread some of that benefit to their customers. But JP Morgan is looking at blockchain technology, specifically in this case, Quorum, that they have been working on for a number of years at this point in time, specifically looking at this as a way to improve their internal processes. This is not something that I think has any chance of competing against Bitcoin, competing against Ethereum, competing against a variety of cryptocurrencies, because it is not a permissionless cryptocurrency. It is not something that can be used outside of the confines of JP Morgan. So it is something that I don't think is competitive to Bitcoin or competitive to cryptocurrencies as a whole. Number two, going back to yesterday's video, I talked a little bit about everybody always talking their bag, everybody always talking their book when it comes to just life in general, but especially in cryptocurrency and especially with these businesses. You have last year, or about a year and a half ago at this point in time, really, it's crazy how fast time moves, but JP Morgan coming out and saying Bitcoin is a fraud, and this is basically just blowing the whole space up. Meanwhile, there was literally, and I had friends that were working on that team at JP Morgan, there's a whole team of people working hard to build out this product. When I'm looking at the launch of JPM Coin right now, I'm not necessarily thinking about value accruing to Bitcoin or not accruing to Bitcoin. I don't think this has anything to do with Bitcoin. I am not even looking at, while this is built on Quorum, Quorum is a fork of Ethereum, essentially an enterprise fork. So you could make the kind of argument that this is built on Ethereum. I don't believe at this point in time that this is value as a value additive to Ethereum either. But when I'm looking at this, the big thing that strikes me about this, and this is probably going to trigger the XRP Ripple folks, but this is a direct competition point to Ripple and to XRP. Granted, JP Morgan has been building this for quite some time. It's not been a secret that they've been building Quorum. It's not been a secret that they've been part of the Enterprise Ethereum Alliance. But if you look at the CNBC article, which was the scoop that really broke the news this morning, they talk about 3 early applications for the JPM coin, according to the leader of the blockchain division at JP Morgan. The first is international payments for large corporate clients, which now typically happens using wire transfers between institutions on decades-old networks like SWIFT. I wonder who else in the cryptocurrency space is working on international payments for large corporate clients competing against something like SWIFT. Who could that be? Second is for securities transactions, and the final use is for huge corporations that use JP Morgan's treasury services to replace the dollars they hold in subsidiaries across the world. This, in my opinion, if I am an employee at Ripple, if I am an XRP holder, this is making me a little squeamish right now. And I've seen some comments too. I talked about this on Twitter, and I saw some comments of being like, you know what, Citigroup and Goldman or whoever else is not going to use JPM coin now. They're going to use XRP instead of that. I would argue that they're probably going to build their own internal blockchain related solutions to this as well, potentially. And they're probably not going to be utilizing Ripple as this cross chain thing, but that is obviously up for argument. We don't know exactly how this is going to play out, but it looks to me like this is a direct competition, not against Bitcoin, not against Ethereum, but directly trying to do what Ripple and XRP are doing in international cross-border settlements, value transfer, instantaneous wire transfers for large institutional clients. So if you are a big Ripple or XRP guy, would love to hear your thoughts. Is this something that you personally are worried about? Do you think that this is justification for the value that you might provide? Would love to hear your thoughts there. But for me personally, I think it's incredibly bearish that JP Morgan, which manages, I believe they said $2.3 trillion in assets, or has $2.3 trillion essentially in treasury, is going after Ripple's business. I think that is it's a rough go and probably an uphill battle, but there are obviously multiple other banks that are going after that market as well, or banks that are participating in that market. So I'm excited to see what happens there as somebody who has no exposure to XRP on the short or long side, and doesn't necessarily care exactly what happens in that scenario. And the cross-border payments for institutional clients has never been an interesting point at all for me as a reason to be in cryptocurrency. But now that it's happening, hey, I'll watch it with popcorn on the sidelines and see what ends up rolling with that. But taking a step back, cueing the, aside from the crypto Twitter freakouts, again, reiterating my point, this is not an attack. In my opinion, this is not an attack against Bitcoin. I don't think that a permissioned blockchain by a global bank has any competition against what Bitcoin is trying to provide, which is truly decentralized money that is not really beholden to Jamie Dimon or anybody else. I don't think that this is necessarily, at this point in time, a value add to Ethereum, even though it is built on an Ethereum fork Quorum. It is good to see, though, but I don't think it necessarily is going to pump the price of Ethereum or ETH or anything like that. But I do think the one thing that you want to keep an eye on, especially if you're a Ripple or XRP guy, is this is direct competition against Ripple and XRP. So that's what I'm keeping my eye on at this point in time. Now, again, would love to hear your comments below on this. Do you think that, I know a lot of people out there are, anytime I post a video on the banks, people get fired the hell up. So would love to hear your thoughts, your comments below on this. Is this something that you view as competition? Is this something that you think is just whatever, who cares? It's it's JP Morgan coin, nobody cares. But would love to hear your comments below. If you enjoyed this video, hit that thumbs up button. Helps to get this out to as many people as possible. Enjoyed the time with you guys today. Crypto Bobby signing out. Hope you have a good one. Peace.